The Blue Lock Chapter 319 officials are here, and with them, the second half of Japan vs. Nigeria begins to unfold. With Igo narrating over the action, we get a deeper look into the origins of humanity's passion for sports and where the role of a striker fits into it all. As usual, my name is Animasu, and today we'll be going over the official release of Blue Lock Chapter 319 titled The Fanaticism Formula. Of course, if you'd like to support the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. With all that stuff out of the way, let's dive right into this week's chapter. Also, I do want to apologize if my voice kinda sounds messed up in this video or the audio. My house literally sounded like the house from Dr. Seuss or some shit, and I have a sore throat. Blue Lock Chapter 319 opens with the shadowy figures of the master strikers looming around one another, either in play or staring forward at us, the reader. Julian Loki even pops up here trying to aura farm in the Shadow Realm, standing in the background, but let's be real. Bro is not Mbappe no matter how hard he tries. With Igo watching on closely and leaning in with sharp focus, the question posed at the start is why this sport, soccer, has so much power to entrance humanity in the first place. The second half then officially kicks off, and Igo immediately continues his narration, saying that no matter your birthplace, background, or wealth, anyone in the world can freely step onto a field and play with just a ball. As this sentiment sinks in, Isagi taps the ball off to his right into the possession of itoshi, who is running in stride next to him. In the background, Shigure Hyoma can already be seen gunning it at full speed up the right wing, and honestly, you just have to feel bad for the Nigerian right back in this moment. This man is about to experience true defender trauma, but hey, I bet you Hakimi and Nuno Mendes could handle Shigure. With itoshi now on the ball, he easily slices past two defenders and leaves them tumbling through the air while focusing forward. Kuso charges towards him with Bello shifting in behind, trying to contain him. And Igo narrates over this, saying that there is no denying the simplicity of stepping onto a field with a ball is connected to why the sport is so globally popular. But then he pivots, saying the true essence of the game is far more primitive than that. The origin of all sports, he explains, lies in hunting. This leads us into one of the two panels that was actually missing from the leaks this week, which is once again why it's so important to read and support the officials. The missing piece here was an upscale of Itoshi Rain as he pops the ball up to avoid the double press from both Kuso and Bello, showcasing his skill as Igo's narration continues. The Big Jinpachi gives us a quick history lesson, pointing to prehistoric cave paintings that depicted martial combat and contest of strength. This showed us that humans tested their skills in ways that were essentially practiced for the hunt, whether that was chasing prey or throwing stones and spears. We then transition into a spread of primitive humans hunting an elk or a deer and then celebrating their successful kill. Igo ties this together by saying that at their root, all sports originate from the act of acquiring prey, and of course, acquiring prey comes from the human need to eat and survive. So as Igo declares with the broadest reach imaginable, sports themselves originate from the basic instinct to live. By that logic, you could argue anything and everything about modern society stems from survival and preservation, and honestly, he's not wrong. It's a wild connection to make, but this is exactly the kind of analogy you'd expect from him after all. Igo's explanation then shifts towards why people are so entranced by sports in the first place, and while there are 100 different factors he could have chosen, he decides the primal explanation is enough. Back on the pitch, Aboa steps in just as Itoshi comes back down, cutting him off cleanly and taking possession for Nigeria. Their crowd erupts in excitement as Aboa glances around, baring his teeth with determination. He then rifles the ball towards Kuso, who wastes no time in changing it along to Bello as Nigeria tries to mount a quick counterattack. Itoshi and bachira are left stranded in transition with no time to react, and as Bello receives the pass, he announces that they will not be funneling the ball to Anazi like usual this time. Instead, he's determined to take this one into his own hands. With that in mind, Bello pops the ball into the air and pulls off a roulette around Tabito Kerasu. For a second, it looks like he might actually break through, but somehow he's slow enough for Kerasu to recover, catch up, and cut him off. Realizing he won't be able to finish the move himself, Bello dishes the ball off to his right while admitting that he can't finish this one all the way. That pass finds the feet of a new Nigerian player named Sadiq, and both Reo and Shigure immediately clock his approach. The two of them then shift into place to coordinate a double press, their eyes sharp as they prepare to trap him. Sadiq, however, feeling like the main character, calls out with defiance, saying that they can be egotistical too, just like Blue Lock. The problem for him is that words don't mean much in this kind of situation. Despite the big talk, Sadiq gets trapped between Reo and Shigure almost instantly, boxed in on both sides with nowhere to go. He tries to force a pass out of pressure, but Reo leaps through the air and manages to get a piece of the ball, completely catching him off guard. Anazi watches closely as this unfolds, and Igo jumps back into his narration, pointing out that in this sport, players form teams and exchange their intentions with one another to hunt prey. In other words, defensive stands like this one are what he would call a variant of group hunting. As everyone then turns in surprise, Anazi launches himself into the air to trap the deflected ball, and Igo's narration cuts back in, asking what exactly exactly the position of a striker represents in these primal comparisons. Just as Onazi steadies himself, Isagi comes charging in and catches him off guard, forcing him to instinctively flick the ball over his head. Ego explains that strikers are the fearless ones who lead the charge and slip past the enemy's eyes, always seeking that one fatal strike against their prey. It's really fitting here because Isagi disrupts Onazi's big moment with pure defensive awareness, while Onazi himself has already broken through most of Japan's defense in the first place. Both of them are embodying the idea of hunters or strikers, but in completely different ways. Onazi swallows his nerves and goes all in, becoming fearless as he glides through the air and swings his leg towards the falling ball. He's even depicted as a caveman leaping with a spear, aiming to finish off his hunt. Behind him, Isagi and Aiku are too far back to stop him, and even Ryu is just barely arriving late to the scene. The prey in front of Onazi isn't just Japan's defense though, but rather Gin Kagamaru, the goalkeeper, who is framed as a giant woolly mammoth standing guard over the goal. According to Ego, strikers are more than hunters. They're heroes, figures that the human heart instinctively longs for and aspires to become. Ryu and Aiku do manage to catch up though somehow and position themselves in front of Onazi just as he falls into range of the ball. Onazi acknowledges their effort, telling them that they're not so bad, but instead of forcing a shot through the bodies in front of him, he surprises them by shifting the ball left. Ryu and Aiku both bite on the fake and leap in, completely caught off guard as the real finish develops. The pass lands perfectly in stride for Nigeria's captain Kuso, and Onazi yells out for him to be the one to finally finish the job and put a point on the scoreboard. With the whole stadium watching, Kuso pulls his leg back with full aura swelling in his eyes, ready to fire. Ego uses this moment to clarify his point. The world's greatest striker must also be the greatest hunter of them all. If that's what we're going for, then hey, Team USA might win the U20 World Cup. Just imagine they have a team just fully stacked with country boys or something. Anyways, Kuso rips through the ball with everything he has, but just as it looks like disaster for Japan, Itoshi suddenly launches himself across the play. With an instinctual reaction, Rin blocks the shot mid-air and stuns the entire stadium. Kuso is left completely shocked, and Rin wastes no time in letting his thoughts flow freely. His speech bubbles even shift to black as he egotistically calls Kuso a cornrow nerd and says that he's too tepid, lacking the necessary lust for goals. Somebody either needs to media train this kid or teach him some better shit talk because he's got all the talent in the world, but man, he really needs some lessons from Aiku on charisma. The Japanese crowd erupts in cheers at Rin's intervention, and as the deflected ball soars upward, Oliver Aiku makes his move. Sprinting with metavision sharp in his eyes, he zones in on the ball's flight path. Ego cuts in once more, saying that this simple act of kicking around a ball entrances people because it awakens their primal instincts, letting them feel a rush of life or death hunting in the modern age. Aiku leaps into the air and meets the ball cleanly, sending a powerful header straight down towards Isagi Yoichi. As Isagi traps it cleanly at his feet, his aura flares up and he immediately looks to Rin, asking him to test something out with him. Rin, equally fired up, locks eyes with him and agrees, his aura also radiating out from his eyes. With Isagi sprinting forward with metavision fully active and Rin running right alongside him, the dual aces of Japan prepare to hopefully get an upcoming chapter and goal of their own. Finishing out the chapter, Ego leans in with his hands clasped over his mouth and tells them to go forth, to hunt their dream of becoming the best in the world and prove they are, without a doubt, heroes. With that being the end of Blue Lock Chapter 319, we sadly will be going on a break week before the next one. Blue Lock Chapter 320 will be arriving on October 7th with the title Hero or Die, which has a lot of people making far reaches. Somehow people are coping enough to believe that this has something to do with Kunigami, which in reality, it will just be Isagi Yoichi and Itoshi Rin putting belt to ass. Just as Ego described in this chapter, these two have the most honed instincts to cut through the opponent's defense and strike them effectively for the final blow. A goal and a third point on the board. Whatever the case may be, please share your thoughts and theories in the comments below, as I always love reading what you all have to say. If you watched through today's video and found that you enjoyed yourself, please take a moment to support me by clicking that subscribe button and dropping a comment down below. I also have a community Discord which you can find linked down below, so feel free to join up and say hello. I hope you all have a great and productive day, and I'll see you all in the next video.